Hey everybody, Carl Lanning, Brazos River Charter School with This Week in History, specifically the week of September 22nd through October 3rd. Well, last week, you might remember I mentioned this little piece of film technology to you. It turns out that 3D films go back a little bit further than most people realize, myself included. On September 27th of 1922, what is considered to be the world's first commercially released 3D film premiered. It was called The Power of Love. Now, various filmmakers had toyed with the idea of making 3D films and had varying degrees of success. This was the first movie, though, to utilize the two projector system and the glasses with the red and green lenses to achieve the 3D effect. This film was unique in one other way. The movie had two endings, one happy, one tragic. Well, that's not so new. However, while you were watching the movie, you could choose which one you wanted to see, because all you would have to do is simply close one eye or the other. Close one eye and you would see the happy ending. Close the other one, you would see the tragic ending. It would be in standard two-dimension. This is, as far as I know, this is the only time I've ever heard of this sort of thing. I don't know if there's ever been another movie made like that. Pretty impressive for 1922. It was only shown twice, The Power of Love, to very good reviews, but sadly the film appears to be lost. So, world's first 3D movie with selectable endings. Oh, well, next up. On September 30th of 1997, Nobuo Fujita died at the age of 85. Now, Mr. Fujita holds the distinction of being the only enemy pilot during World War II to actually attack the 48 contiguous states. He did so twice in 1942. Now, Vegeta had the idea himself of taking a seaplane, partially dismantling it, putting it into a watertight container on board a submarine equipped with a catapult. They think that then the submarine would surface, they would assemble the aircraft, put it on the catapult, and launch it from there. On September of 1942, the submarine I-25 surfaced off the coast near the Oregon-California border, and Fujita's plane was launched carrying two 250-pound incendiary bombs. The idea was to start a fire in that gigantic forested region and tie down American resources and score a propaganda victory. Well, Fujita dropped his bombs near Brookings, Oregon, and successfully returned to the submarine. About 3 weeks later, he did it again. The fires were easily extinguished, though, as the weather was damp, as it is many times in that part of the world. Now, in 1962, on the 40th anniversary of his raid, he was invited to make a visit to Brookings, Oregon. Now, he agreed after the Japanese government was assured that he would not be tried as a war criminal. He brought, however, his family's 400-year-old samurai sword. Fujita was fairly ashamed of his war record. After this, he later got into, was assigned to train kamikaze pilots. And that was something he was pretty ashamed of. So he intended to use the sword to commit suicide if he got a hostile reception. As it turns out, the town greeted him with great affection and great respect. Therefore, he made a gift of the sword to the city of Brookings. And as a matter of fact, it is on display in the public library today. Fujita returned 3 more times before his death. There is a trail that goes out to where the bombing site is. He planted a tree on the site. He was made an honorary citizen of Brookings, Oregon, and he later helped sponsor 3 high school students on their trips to Japan. His daughter buried some of his ashes at the bomb site as well. So, Mr. Fujita. And finally, between September 29th and October the 1st of 1982, the Tylenol murders occurred in Chicago. A total of 7 people died after taking Tylenol capsules that had been tampered with and laced with cyanide. There were later 36 verifiable attempts at a similar style of tampering, but no deaths occurred. This, of course, is today why you have the various the foil that is underneath the cap This is also why you have the seal that goes around the edge of it. That way you can tell whether or not there's been any tampering done. The crime, by the way, remains unsolved to this day. However, the Tylenol murders had another side effect. It changed Halloween. For years, there had been stories of various objects such as pins and razor blades, things like that, that have been inserted into Halloween trick-or-treat items. These almost all fall under the category of urban legends. Researchers have identified 89 reports since 1959. Only 10 of those were able to be verified. And those were all attempts to use the paranoia about tainted Halloween candy to cover up an attempt to cause harm or kill a specific person, usually a family member. After 1982, of course, hospitals then started x-raying trick-or-treat bags. It really destroyed a tradition that I was particularly fond of. There were some elderly ladies that lived in the neighborhood that I did that it was, I used to love going by there because they made some of the most fantastic homemade treats, homemade cookies, brownies, cakes, the popcorn balls, things like that. And of course, children and parents were admonished not to accept homemade trick-or-treat items. And they even ran, I remember, public service ads warning people about this. So it was really too bad that, Halloween in a way lost its innocence through no fault of its own. The Tylenol murders. Well, that's it for this week, but to let you know what's coming up next week, we will learn about this lady's incredible survival story, or maybe more accurately, her survival stories. I'm Carl Lang, Brazos River Charter School, and we look forward to seeing you right here next week.